the Chair, Presidential Working Party Education Reforms, Professor Alfred Monavu, members of the Presidential Working Party of Education Reforms, our Cabinet Secretary for Education, the Principal Secretary of the Ministry of Education, senior Ministry of Education officials, our development partners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great privilege for me to represent His Excellency the President, Dr. William Ruto, in officially launching this Presidential Working Party on educational reforms. I am well aware that this distinguished assembly has brought together eminent professionals, high achievers, impactful citizens and public servants with substantial track records in matters to do with education, training and skills development. Congratulations on your appointment to serve on this working group, and thank you for making yourselves available for national duty at this time when this country and its millions of learners need you most. The terms of reference set out in the presidential instrument that created this team are clear and precise. Kenya Gazette Notice 11920 of 29 September 2022 makes it clear that the task before you is monumental and that your work shall go a long way in providing clarity on the many issues that have persistently plagued our education sector, obstructing the nation from commitment to educate and empower its citizens effectively, efficiently, and in a sustainable manner. We are confident that you possess, individually and collectively, the requisite capacity to deliver and make lasting contribution to the sustainable development of this nation through a fit-for-purpose, responsive, relevant education that reflects our unique identity and culture as well as our aspirations. Many stakeholders have expressed concern that they may have been left out in the constitution of this working group. I believe that one of your most urgent tasks is to send a strong signal that your operations and practices shall demonstrate inclusivity, public participation, stakeholder engagement by endeavoring to listen to every voice and wherever possible enlist necessary assistance to ensure that your objectives are realized. There is no doubt that as a nation, we are united by seriousness about who we are and who we aspire to be. It is critical that we are able to provide assurance that the means and ends of education are aligned with the national intent as expressed in our administration's plan, national development roadmap, as well as the Constitution. This is especially urgent because while there is evident vigor in the disparate activities of various actors in the education sector, we need to be able to say the same about their overall coherence. To do so, we must undertake a summative evaluation that answers our most important questions and resolves the contradictions, overlaps, and other inefficiencies holding us back from the promise of a more robust performance. From early childhood education all the way to university, we must forge a path that coordinates the players in the subsectors and reconcile the workings of the subsectors to produce a coherent framework for education system governance in order to align it with broader national aspirations. The rule of law, good governance, global competitiveness, economic growth, national stability, and culture depend on a sound educational system focused on the full expression of its citizens' capabilities. Kenya's commitment to the provision of quality education is demonstrable. We invest 5.7% of our GDP, or 28% of the national budget, in education. This is significantly above both the global and the sub-Saharan average, and actually compares favorably with international benchmarks. The big issue we have to resolve relates to quality and equity in general, and especially as it relates to access in arid and semi-arid regions, informal settlements, and areas affected by high incidence of poverty. Indeed, obstacles to schools participation in these communities not only undermine our achievements in promoting access through the free primary education and free day secondary education program, that to a large extent affect children from disadvantaged and vulnerable backgrounds, compounding the social justice problem. This can be seen in the fact that over the past 10 years, survival rates in primary and secondary schools have dropped, and as a result, many school-age children are out of school. We therefore look forward to recommendations that will enable us to formulate aggressive affirmative measures to urgently bridge the gap in access to education in disadvantaged counties and communities. Our administration is committed to the domestication of teacher recruitment and deployment at entry level, in keeping with the best practices set out in UNESCO teacher deployment practice. Connected to this is the urgent need to manage challenges resulting from teacher delocalization. Accordingly, we have committed to replace the delocalization policy with a nationalization program that offers incentives for those teachers who choose to serve outside their local communities and emphasizes productivity. Our plan also commits us to invest in a minimum essential package of capacities and facilities in primary and secondary schools. The aim is to assure consistent access to basic services. It also cushions those schools with low enrollment and enables them to meet school operational fixed costs. As you may be aware, a vibrant technical and vocational education and training system lies at the core of our bottom-up model. Our commitment is to expand and equip TVET institutions across the country to be able to absorb more than 500,000 youth who graduate from basic education institutions annually. To unlock the immense benefits associated with this endeavor, the operational policy and legal framework across the entire education and training sector must be rationalized. We therefore look forward to receiving and implementing your clear recommendations for the overdue appropriate review. Indeed, coherence in the policy framework is indispensable for our educational system to support rapid socio-economic transformation. Over the years, numerous legal and regulatory apparatus have been established to deliver various mandates within this sector. As a result, many institutions often perform similar roles, render identical services, or address the same issues, sometimes without consultation or coordination, resulting in unnecessary competition, conflict, and wastage of scarce resources. Your recommendations on the synchronization of TVET training to maximize synergies and coherently deliver on important national priorities are much unstated. The competence-based education and training curriculum is intended to resolve the skills mismatch that exists between the training system and the labor market. It establishes guidelines for the implementation of an industry and business-led TVET model, which strictly enforces industry-validated occupational standards under the TVET Act. To guarantee consistent output of competitive, skilled workforce, we urge you to establish an effective linkage between the competence-based curriculum, CBC, and the competence-based education and training, CBET, and recommend modalities of which university academic programs can be reviewed for better alignment with the labor market demand. The prevailing education and training system majorly consists of silos whereby programs are inconceivably different with one institution and the next. As a result, education is cumbersome and expensive, denying learners the flexibility and mobility that work and life often demands, and forcing them to make suboptimal choices. Ladies and gentlemen, you have an opportunity to explore ways of developing and implementing a sound national credit accumulation and transfer framework that applies across the entire education and training system. The university is the apex of knowledge, creation, and dispersion, and thus is essential to sustainable development of any nation. Through research and critical inquiry, The university provides solutions to problems facing society and helps countries anchor development agendas on a sound foundation of knowledge. We need our universities to reposition themselves more powerfully and in the national development agenda by playing a more pronounced role in education. This calls for a review of curricula as well as a structure and modes of delivery. It is time to recalibrate the university curriculum to incorporate more local content with synchronizing it with the aspirations and imperatives of the current era. The demands of industry and concerns of the community must resonate throughout university facilities and reflect its outputs. It is time to deliver a holistic education experience that takes into account that optional intersection of the classroom and the community as learning spaces. This calls for the achievement of the indispensable qualities of transformational education, provision of adequate learning resources, assurance of curricular relevance, balance between theory and practice, engaged faculty with high expectations, and motivated students. In turn, campuses must be enriched with opportunities through robust career services, diverse co-curricular activities, high student engagement, employer involvement, sustainable incubation of innovations. For its part, communities must contribute through internship and service learning opportunities. Modern and emerging teaching techniques must find their way into our lecture rooms, and education must attain the quality that anticipates a stronger value proposition for universities by investing multidisciplinary skills in students. Multi-skill learning and flexibility prepares youth for jobs of the future. In a time when nearly half of the existing careers